The rooster, they called him Crimson, not for a subtle blush, but for the unapologetic, fiery scarlet that seemed to engulf him. He wasn't just red, he was a living ember in the dusty barnyard, a flamboyant exclamation point in a world of muted browns and greens. His comb, a jagged crown, pulsed with an even deeper shade, and his tail feathers fanned out like banners of a forgotten king. Crimson wasn't just big, he was colossal for a rooster. He dwarfed the hens, his shadow stretching long and imposing across the cracked earth. The other roosters, smaller and less vibrantly hued, kept a respectful distance, their morning crows often faltering into nervous squawks when Crimson decided to announce the dawn. But Crimson's size and color weren't the only things that set him apart. He possessed an unusual gentleness. While other roosters strutted and pecked with territorial aggression, Crimson moved with a deliberate, almost regal calm. He would often nudge stray chicks back to their mothers with his massive beak, his clucking a deep, rumbling purr rather than a sharp challenge. The old farmer, Silas, had never seen a rooster like him. Crimson had arrived mysteriously as a chick, tucked amongst a batch of ordinary brown ones. Silas had initially been wary of his unusual appearance, half expecting a fierce and unruly bird. But Crimson had surprised him. One sweltering afternoon, a hawk circled high above the farm, its shadow a death knell for the unsuspecting chickens. The hens scattered, clucking in panic. The smaller roosters puffed themselves up in futile displays of bravery. But Crimson, seeing the danger, did something extraordinary. He didn't just crow a warning. He spread his enormous wings, their scarlet undersides flashing like warning signals, and launched himself into the air. It was an awkward, powerful ascent, his sheer size making flight a labored effort. Yet, he flew directly towards the circling predator. The hawk, startled by the sudden appearance of this giant red fury, veered away, confused and intimidated by the sheer audacity of the attack. Crimson didn't pursue. He simply hovered for a moment, a vibrant guardian against the pale sky, before gliding back down to the relieved flock. From that day on, Crimson was more than just a rooster. He was the protector, the scarlet sentinel of the farm. The hens would gather beneath his impressive shadow for safety, and even the other roosters seemed to acknowledge his quiet authority. Children from the neighboring farms would sneak over to marvel at him, whispering tales of the firebird of Farmer Silas's yard. They saw in his vibrant plumage and imposing size a touch of magic, a creature plucked from the pages of a fantastical story.